Hey mamas, Celeste Howard here at the Mom Collective. I'm with Rowena and Pamela today. And we are just gonna keep talking. We got some requests. Some people were a little curious last week about
about your past.
Yeah.
Your past.
my illicit past. I'm
Like-
gonna put my chair down while Rowena talks.
No, that's fine. And if you watched the previous episode, I mean, things were getting really interesting. It's probably one of my favorite topics that we've talked about, just because it was very interesting. So if you haven't watched it, I mean,
So
backtrack
interesting,
after this.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was really interesting, Celeste, how you know, back in your heyday, you know, you were around people doing the things that they do. You were kind of like around people living life.
Yeah, like my groups,
trying-
like the guys were in bands. I think I went to a small Catholic
Like,
school.
I
I
keep
dated the
saying
only guy that I kind of was what it was. Like I dated the only guy kicked out for drugs.
So like you're around people enjoying these substances, but yet
Because they were fun. The people
were fun. They were
Yeah, no, not the
interesting. It made
substances.
life
I've
a little
never
bit
done
more
drugs.
exciting.
ever. Yeah. I did
the
not
record.
drink until I was 21
For the
at
record,
all. Yeah. I'm
Celeste,
a law abiding or I'm a rule following person.
rule following person.
I'm not really law abiding. I do speed.
But you were like, but you were around it, but you
Yeah.
just didn't care
Yeah,
to
I
partake.
was not.
And I know Pamela, at one point, you
We've-
had mentioned that, like
yeah.
you're around. I mean, you use the word secular. You're around people who are just people doing what they do, enjoying the substances, but like you wanted to just be with them. You didn't necessarily want to partake in what they
Yes.
were doing.
Yes.
So if you want to like elaborate on that.
Like just
Give us
growing up, I mean, I went to all
snapshot.
Catholic schools, but
Mhm.
I'm a rule follower.
That's not a
too.
barrier,
I
though.
abided
Yeah.
by the rules. And I felt my whole life alone in that. It was nice when you kind of opened up and I was like,
Mhm.
this is why I love your
There's other
family
good
and you
people
and
out
your
there.
kids.
Yeah.
Because they're well
Kids are
rounded
like that.
and they've been exposed to things. But
Yes,
like,
but they're
necessarily,
fun and they're out in the world, but they're not doing the wrong thing.
you didn't consume
St.
them the
Francis de
wrong
Sales
way.
talks
It's a whole
about be of the world, not of the introduction to devout life was huge in my life in college. Just saying he was giving counsel to the person he was writing letters with and intro to devout life. Someone who's a lot more literary than I am can put in the comments what this person's name was. But that there's like you should like moth among the flames. Like you can get close enough, do not get burnt.
Yes.
Like you're attracted to the light. Like you're like there's something fun about having fun.
Yeah, it's
God
exciting.
It
everything.
is.
Yes.
Like
Created
the
sexual
world is
being.
not the world is not evil. That was a heresy, saying all physical, all whatever is evil. And saints talk about that incessantly, about that balance and how to strike that balance. And
And yes.
so yeah.
And so now as I'm older and we're in this amazing church community and it's just thriving down here, even more so than, the Catholic schools and stuff that where I
You
come
went to.
from.
Yeah.
People are just more owning their faith and it's beautiful. But
Okay.
I almost feel this like, well, I'm too Catholic for my secular friends and I'm too secular for my
For your
Catholic
crunchy
friends
Catholic
because they don't
friends,
take it
Yeah.
extreme. But like
Yeah.
I miss and where I shine, where I'm happiest is like with those people. But they all like respect me for my faith and views. They know I'm not going to partake. They're like fine with
They
it.
respect, yeah.
Yes. And so I reflect on like, why is that? Like, why was I so unique? Why? And the only thing I can come up with is that my dad would always talk to me about things, but he would explain it. He wouldn't like say, sit me down and, the lecture.
Sure.
He would like use like parables or like he would really try to
Hmm.
get me to understand and be like, well, if you do this, where do you think that's going to lead? You tell me.
Help
Like,
you
getting me
process down the way.
thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I can think of is like why I was so unique because everyone around me wasn't,
Well-
they were having sex.
Sure.
They might try some drugs. They were definitely drinking. Or
Because your
whatever.
dad made you understand the choices lead to a certain
Yes.
consequence and just
Yes.
like told you like
Yes.
plain and simple. So,
Yes.
okay.
And
So
my personality too, like I didn't need to drink to have fun. I
Right.
was very social.
you just
like,
wanted to be
yeah.
around these cool people,
Yeah.
these cool and interesting people
Yes.
who do unfortunately do bad things. Okay.
Mhm.
So like I'm, finishing our oldest son is finishing his freshman year and I've got 3 others that are coming up right. I mean, I got a 7th grader, he'll be finishing middle school soon. And I'm just wondering, Celeste, like you've gone before us. Okay?
Yes.
Like,
I am the
What-
older and wiser.
You've gone before us.
like,
Oh.
yes. She's blazed the trail.
With
Blazed.
lots of fires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fires, not anything illegal.
No.
But,
I will say again, I have not, nor will I ever do drugs.
but what's cool about, I mean, you're such
Just
a
naturally that
well-rounded,
fun.
right?
No.
You're such a well-rounded person, and you're so holy and you're devout that, but at the
Mhm.
same time, you're a balanced
Yes.
person who has
Well-rounded.
seen and lived and respect other whatever. But like, what do I have? What do I have to hold on to, look forward to, dread, be able to address down the road?
Mhm.
Because, I mean, we've already started the conversation with at the time we were out at a movie with our two older sons, 15 and 13, and we're like, it just kind of came up like, oh, daddy tried this, and mommy had no desire to try, like a cigarette when presented one. Like I just
I do
kind of like
smoke.
all
I'm
my
sorry.
no, and that's that's fine, whatever. I'm talking in high school, right? My son he's in a great Catholic private school, and it happens to be all boys, but he's at a point now where boys are getting kicked out of school because they're doing all kinds of things,
dealing
dealings,
drugs.
yes, like making money off
And doing drugs.
the paraphernalia,
Yeah,
and
scary.
like during school hours. My son is like, that's like how, this is what he said. He was like, so and so, these people, they have like whatever high GPA, they've got all this stuff going for them. Like, why would they be so dumb to just throw all of that
job.
away?
Mm.
That's
Good
just
job.
he's just logical.
Yeah,
He's just
he's-
logical.
Puts it together.
But I'm like, I don't think that's a normal response. Like,
No. Yeah.
what's coming?
Cultivate.
Just tell me what's coming.
So he has. It's not bad. I think the kids get better every year that goes by. And he's going to have a natural disposition. Like some kids will have a natural disposition towards things that you don't need to manage it quite as much. And then you're going to have some that are going to have a little more curiosity about.
That's going to be my
something that
second son.
doesn't-
A little more curious.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
I'll tell you
In a
that.
couple of years. There's a couple of things. One, like every topic that's a little tricky and that you hope the most for your kids, talk about it. Just talking about it. And in saying don't do X is not talking about it. That's
Correct.
putting down this fence. And I'm sorry, I think so often a fence makes curiosity of like what's on the other side.
Correct.
Like if I
Yes.
can't go over there,
Yeah, what's
amazing?
over there? What
because
is over
let's be honest, we say don't open the pantry, don't go outside. Because why can't you go in the pantry when you're little? Because there's cookies in there. Why can't you, so any of the boundaries when kids are little we put down is because like they want too much of something that's good sometimes, whether
Mhm.
it's the junk snacks or like don't do the remote because you can't watch TV all day. So I think they're like innately thinking this boundary is keeping me from too much good stuff.
Yeah.
So I definitely would say don't just say don't do X, no matter what it is.
And she's saying X like fill in the blank,
Oh,
not
sorry.
X as in
Yeah.
like
ecstasy. Because
ecstasy.
I also don't do that drug either.
We sure do know a lot, though, don't we?
we sure do. Come back to the Mom Collective podcast where you learn all kinds of things about these moms.
Well, at least make
Sorry,
sense.
I just needed to like make that distinction.
Because that's what people were thinking.
I mean, for a hot second, I
Some
did.
of you were.
Yeah, for a hot second, I did.
Okay. So whatever the situation is that you would like to raise your kid in a certain moral disposition, I think it's futile. That's not cultivating and educating your child just to say, don't do this. You need to explain why. In Pam, like you were saying that your
With your
dad did
dad,
that.
Yes.
So good.
I'll take that a step further to that as well. And to keep going with an easy catchphrase and an easy thing to remember so that you can navigate on your own is I like to cultivate a sorrow for sin. So
Well, cultivate a sorrow.
Ooh,
For sin.
yes.
yes.
Explain that.
Wish I had a journal right now.
That is
That is awesome. Yeah, please explain.
So, okay, drugs, which again, I have not done, but no one, like people celebrate that they've quit drugs. Like actors will go to rehab and be like, I am sober. I quit alcohol. So there's obviously something there that you would never be proud of yourself for quitting. Okay. So someone that drinks too much or does a lot of drugs, how do they feel about themselves? Why are they doing it? You go to a party and you're going to drink because you are uncomfortable, because you don't feel interesting on your own. Gosh, how hard is that to feel like you have nothing to offer if you haven't been drinking? Or you then go do something and you make a stupid decision because it was really fun. Now you have this regret. Like, I would like to save you from, like, these are things that this is what will happen. This is what will happen. You will make some stupid decisions and you will be reinforcing to yourself that you are not entertaining or funny enough without a drink or without smoking a joint or whatever it is. I think that was 1980s lingo there. But
Still
I don't even know what it is.
Whatever.
so, but if they could see the full picture of, it's not, don't pass this line, here's the fence, because then they think, after I cross that, man, it is Disneyland out there all day long. Okay, well, let's go past that fence, like you were saying. Okay, now you're here and you had a good time. Maybe you didn't drink too much, maybe you, whatever, underage. But what did that reinforce to you? What truth did that tell you about yourself? That you're not good enough by yourself, and then you will do something stupid. How are you going to deal with that? Now you have regret. Now you have it lowers your self-esteem. And then another thing I also would say is, guys, let's just be logical about this. We do not live in a very moral society. It just is what it is. But still, you cannot drink until you're 21.
Right.
You can change your sex when you're, I don't even know whatever age, without your parents' knowledge.
Yes.
But
Isn't that
the United States of America still says you can't drink until you're 21. Let's unpack that. Why? Why? Because you kids have too much damn time on your hands, and you'll become an alcoholic if you start drinking now. I mean, like,
choice consequence?
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the morality aside, it is a slippery slope that will only go downward for your self-esteem and your motivation. I mean, even if they legalize marijuana at some point, like, that is just, it is not good for your psyche, your morale, to be dependent on anything. And I just think it's funny, like, when you're older and it's legal to drink at 21, at that point you're typically employed, you have some stress, you have responsibilities, you have things that are going to get you to stop drinking at a certain time of the evening so that you can get up and take care of your stuff in the morning.
Right, exactly.
So true.
You don't have
It's
endless
the
amounts of
next day,
time.
right.
Like, you're just kind of putting these explosive things together that are close to impossible to not make you an addict. And
Not
that's
win.
Yeah.
and like, an addiction is a huge thing. And I would not wish addiction on any kid. And I would want to protect them from, again, so like talking to them about drugs, alcohol, premarital sex. I mean, we can get into the whole list of things that it's not just no, but let's look at what happens when that, but like, let's unpack it even more than just that. Like, what does that do to your relationship with yourself? What truth does that now make you believe about yourself? What decisions will that impact later?
Right.
And like, I'm not trying to tell you don't consume this particular beverage, because it is not evil in of itself. Like, we do not believe that. That has been, there's been Amish people and different, sex people that have said that have said that.
SECTS
Thank you.
for the distinction.
I caught that late.
Yeah, I was like, but that have
We
said
should
that.
have this
and it-
caption.
Yeah.
Closed captioning on this episode.
we will. We have them. We always do.
Good.
So, but that these things, like, it's like kind of things in moderation, and it was funny. This reminds me of, we were driving by a billboard the other day, and it said, okay, you guys don't have to take parenting advice from me on this one if you don't want to, and that's totally fine. But it said, talk to your kids about vaping. So I turned to my 13-year-old at the time and I was like, so vaping,
Son.
I don't really care if you vape or not. But don't ever do it by yourself. Do not ever do it in the morning. Do not ever become addicted to it or lie to me about doing it, because that's called an addiction, and that's called being sneaky, and that's called lying, and all those things are super bad. But you know what? You cannot be addicted to anything. I don't want you sneaking Oreos. I don't want you playing on your phone without me knowing. Like, at the point of which your free will is taken away from you and you need something,
Yeah.
that's the line.
Yeah.
So
Amen.
if you want to vape, I mean, just make sure you're using it and it's not using you.
Amen.
And he started laughing and he was like, Mom, I don't think that's the conversation they meant.
How old is he? 13?
at the time. I'm like, well, that's my thought on it.
That's so true.
That is
So-
so
It's
true.
honestly good for adults to.
I
I
think so
know.
too.
I know.
I
So
think
for
too.
my kids, like and again, you don't have to do this, and we do like travel. So I think when you have gone to Europe more and your kids are exposed to that, but like we drink in our home, we drink, we have wine majority of the nights with dinner. We make cocktails. It's a social thing. So it's not this forbidden
Right.
fruit, but my kids are like, you use that item, it doesn't use you,
That's-
you know?
you're just
And so,
teaching, responsibility
but
and
it-
moderation.
but you don't,
Right,
again, just
right.
like I'm saying, use it, but you in a culinary sense, because this food and this wine
This
go together.
pairs,
I
this
don't
meat
use
goes
it to
with
feel
this-
better about myself.
Yes.
Like I use it for its physicality. And
Yeah,
so
it's going to bring
my
flavor out
favorite
of
story, my oldest
Yeah.
was going to college and he's packing his stuff. This was years ago. And he opens up the pantry one day and he just goes, wait a minute. Yeah. How am I going to drink in college? Because we always drank dinner, like wine with dinner. And he knows he's not old enough to drink. And
Oh.
I love that he was like, my mom won't be with me, so I won't be able to drink
Oh.
with dinner.
Isn't that interesting?
I know.
Yeah,
Like
but
he
do.
saw it as like a part of the meal.
And
Yeah.
so
He didn't see it as something
here's
to, like,
another tip.
indulge
That's what they
in.
are in Europe.
this
and
is a
abuse.
very
Yes.
non-moral take on it. But if you drink good enough wine and good enough alcohol,
You won't.
You
yes,
out
that's
snob-
true. That's true.
if you out snob your kids, they
That's
can't
off the-
afford it.
That's actually so.
There's that too.
That's a
That
good
is
tip.
really smart.
That's actually a really good tip.
So yeah, just like drink high-end
'Cause they're-
wine and
yeah, the
beverages,
box
and they
Franz
can't.
stuff.
Like my kids would rather
Let me Franz here, let me-
drink
That's
sand
funny.
than like a cheap bottle of vodka and a bad bottle of wine.
Oh,
They're like,
Karpov,
no
yeah.
way. And they cannot afford the stuff that we drink. And that just keeps
That's
them out
actually
of
a
it.
really
So
good
then I'll
point.
just enjoy that with my parents because they've got the good stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it'll be under your roof, and they learn. It's
Your
the
roof?
meal.
Roof.
By
Chicago.
my Midwestern accent. I love to just peep its little head every once in a while.
I love it. I love that, Celeste. Wow.
Because I've met too many people whose parents said no.
Uh-huh.
Then they have it and they're like, this is good. Like, I
mean,
really
I'm just
like
thinking
this
about
with that thing.
Me.
And now
Past
they're
do that,
forced to
and I'm, like,
challenge.
So curious.
Yeah.
Then they
What if
throw
I
the baby
did?
out with the bathwater because if they have it one time, they're like, I had this wine with dinner and it was great. Or I had this thing and I tried it and I didn't get weird. Then they're just like, well, mom's crazy. Like, and
Yeah.
it's all over.
So the explaining. So yeah. Reflecting back on you, what do you think? Like, how was your?
Well,
How
yeah.
were you putting the pieces together at the time?
I mean, all I'm gonna say
Or
is
not?
listening to this conversation, listening to, where like your your experience with your dad and the communication, and just looking back at the rebellious person that I was, even though I really was,
Rowena
like,
did
good.
drink before she was 21.
I think the first time I drank was sophomore year, and I had this uncle,
Of high school or college?
high school. I had this uncle,
Rena,
who
That's
and
your
my
kid.
my cousin who's like 5 months younger than me. We're like
You could learn from this.
in the same. We're in the same grade, same school, and like same group of friends. And then there's a party, and we go to the party because my parents will let me do anything as long as my cousin's with me. But it's
Oh.
like not with.
I've heard so many stories like
uh-huh.
you parent your own kids, your cousins do not parent them.
Good to know.
Correct.
Good to
But you can go to any party you want.
I'm not outing anyone, but
But we had this drunk uncle who was like, okay, what do you want me to buy? I'll buy you anything, and you can bring it.
and avoid the drunk
and,
uncle.
And he drove us to the party.
Oh my gosh.
So like I felt like it was like a sitcom, like an episode from like a 90s sitcom. It was totally that, and we like brought the stuff in the backpacks, and I don't know, but I mean that was the party where I learned, okay, this is not the way to live my life, because I did. I like
Okay.
experimented.
God uses.
Yeah.
Right. I experimented and then went beyond nothing bad happened to me. And I ended up, it was a girlfriend's sleepover, and she like invited a whole bunch, other people that crashed the
Oh, yeah.
party. But I ended up staying, and it was fine. I was safe. Nothing terrible happened. But there was just that element of curiosity and wanting to
Yeah.
push
it.
the boundary, like go a little further, go a little further each time.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But going back, like I didn't have those conversations with my parents, or at least I don't recall having those conversations where this choice will lead to this consequence.
Yeah.
This
Mhm.
consequence will affect this part of
Yes.
your life.
Yes.
And I feel like when I understood that, like then like the curiosity, like is squashed. I don't
Mhm.
care.
But now you have the wisdom to know how So you can come up
Correct.
with how.
Correct. So I
to
should
talk to
probably
your voice.
So you
share
can-
that story in some way, like
Yeah.
a healthy context with
Right.
my 15-year-old. But
It's
And I do
that's-
think that's just like so beautiful too. Like when, especially in like raising kids, a lot of us, like the wife and the husband have different background stories and that they'll
Yes.
need both. And your kids are going
Yeah.
to need both things. Like I didn't have a curiosity.
Mm.
I don't know. It was like offer me cough syrup. It wasn't really heroic of me. I just didn't really want to drink.
Mhm.
Interesting.
You made me laugh because you're your dad, but my dad's a retired doctor. So when it came
Oh my
to
gosh. Sorry.
the sex talk, he was not shy about it because he's very used to taking like things like that and gross things and making them very matter of fact. So he would constantly, and I remember just like rolling whatever, but he would like open up his medical journal and he'd be like, "Do you see this? That's syphilis." You know,
Oh my gosh.
I'm dead serious.
Oh,
There's some friends that
my
are over listening that remember.
Rowena, I'm sorry. Pamela.
Pamela.
The sex talk was the last show. This is the alcohol talk.
This is the alcohol talk. We've moved.
But you made me
Sex,
laugh
sex.
because I'm like, he was just
Uh-huh.
not shy. To your point, he'd be like, "Do you want this? Do you want this?"
So you want this. Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
"No." It worked. So if all else fails, just get a medical check.
No,
That's
don't,
amazing.
don't, because
That's amazing.
okay, well, syphilis is bad, but my mom did explain that. My mom, being a nurse, did the sex talk with the journal
Oh,
thing as
really?
well. Like, here's a man and a woman. Okay, guys just are not like physically attractive. Okay, for me, I don't know about you, Lily.
No, that's still,
Yeah, it's just isn't.
it's still
He
gross.
would
Yeah.
explain the psychology, but I
But-
remember there was like 1 or 2 times where he pulled that one. It's like,
Thank
look
you.
at my mind.
Yeah.
Thank
they're
you,
like,
Dad.
I want that. And whatever
Thank you, Dad.
I have to do to get that, I'm staying so far away from it.
Yeah.
It worked.
So if you
100%
need to shock value your kid, if I'm
Shock.
going to put this
Yeah, 'cause
over to
every
the
kid is different.
alcohol, whatever world, you could pick up pictures of like Robert Downey Jr. and
Yeah, like you don't want to turn on.
who were the other people?
This-
Britney Spears, Once Upon a Time, and all the like train wreck people who had successful lives and drank their face off and got
Yeah.
into drugs
Just like what
and-
my 15-year-old said. He was like,
Because-
what a shame. This guy had everything going for him.
Yes.
And he's gotten kicked out of school. So he's like, that's going to ruin, like when he tries to go to college, like he put all that in his
That's
head.
actually beautiful.
I mean, yeah, it's not normal. I didn't
something
think,
right.
I didn't think like that at 15.
but you
Yeah.
taught him,
But
there's,
he's somewhere, somehow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Praise
Yeah.
you. Jesus, thank you, Lord, for how you miraculously work. But
So there's different, your own kid, like, how much you must shock them into doing the right thing.
and every kid is different.
Yeah,
Just because
every-
your first kid is a saint doesn't mean
and
the second kid will
and
be.
gauge it the same way you discipline whenever someone does something wrong and you get them super in trouble for it, or you have to yell at them, or you have to like quietly just say it's not really the thing. Every kid responds differently to each thing, and you're their parent, and you know how to play that. So I would say the one thing that I did think of with my kids, like if I had gone to the far extreme and showed them like the train wreck people from too much drugs or alcohol, they would be like, but I would never do that. No, so they
you
think I
explain
had
it.
this under control.
Right.
So I would
100%.
know, like I would say start at the very beginning and then work your way up to if you need to shock them. If they're like, oh, but it's fine, you're overreacting. But I think the beginning, if I have to say the stages of how possibly to teach your kids to make wise choices is number one, acclimate some of those things. So you teach them how to do it because these are not necessary evils. And I think that if you teach it as just a no and a boundary, the time, what the heck?
No.
Okay.
It captured it, right?
Please, dear.
It's still recording, so you can cut it out.
Yeah, we went over 20
This
minutes
is so
about
good. When
20 minutes ago.
Just wrapping it up is good.
Yeah, it is. Do you remember where you were at?
So if you have a kid, like just kind of figure out how to gauge it. If you need to put the shock value into effect because they're saying, oh no, I hear what you're saying. That's not me. Then do it. But like anything, start at the beginning. Start at the beginning where you will teach them how to do it because it's not inherently evil. Like teach them drinks, like wine was made to go with a meal, those kind of things. Because there is the possibility of if they ever then do the thing that you put the boundary on and see that it's not all horrible and evil, they're going to just not trust you at all. And that you don't want that to happen. So I would say, teach them how to do those things, acclimate them in a little bit. That's one. Then 2, teach them or thought process with them. What happens when you pass that boundary? Not that you will be the person in drug rehab, but what truth does that tell you about yourself? What will you start believing about yourself? The reality of addiction. And then what happens, like the helplessness you have in addiction, how as a parent, you don't ever want to just to not prepare them against that, and that you would be so sad if that ever happened to them, and want to give them every tool to not be in that position. And then if you need to be there, if they're still pushing back, then you go into the shock value. But just start on teaching kids how to just integrate, and live their best life in balance.
Which will then yield, right? Yeah, balance will yield like moderation, will yield discipline, will yield boundaries, and
Yeah.
the fruits that come
Yeah.
from that. Gosh.
Well,
Okay, this is my favorite podcast episode.
So good.
So good. Oh my God, I can't wait for the next one.
I know.
it was fun.
Wow.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for continuing the conversation with us. And as always, let us
Please.
come to you.
Let us continue to come to you. And I know that we will, because you're like dying to hear what's coming up next. So
Who knows?
in order for you to hear what's coming up next, you have to smash that subscribe button, right? To get the notification that there's been like new content.
And like and follow and all that. And then also, we are gathering friends and reaching more moms and getting the larger conversations off of Instagram. So share it with your friends.
Can I just say thank you?
Yes.
Thank you to our friends who have like
Yes.
affirmed
Yeah.
that they're actually like
Yes.
watching and like repeating to us things
And the
that they've
content ideas.
Yeah,
Keep
like,
sending it, because
thank
that's what
you.
we're talking
Thank you.
about. We're talking about what you're
Amazing.
asking us to talk about. So we're going to keep showing up. We'll be here again next week. But until then, just remember, you were handpicked for this. So lean in. God bless. Bye.